My parents refused to watch my younger twins while I cared for my oldest with brain cancer. I begged my ex-wife, but she laughed, "You're just a broke teacher, figure it out." 2 months later, my child died. I nearly ended it all, but I chose to live for my remaining sons. 1 week later, I heard a knock and opened the door. To find. Chapter 1. The silence in the hospital room. The fluorescent lights above buzzed softly, a cruel contrast to the quiet stillness of the room. I sat in a stiff vinyl chair beside my son's hospital bed, one hand clutching his tiny fingers, the other trembling on my lap. Eli was 7. His skin, once so full of life and sun, was now pale and waxy. Tubes ran across his body like tangled vines. His breaths came slow, shallow, each one fought for. They said it was a glioblastoma, aggressive, rare in children, the kind of thing you never imagine hearing outside a movie. I had 2 other boys, identical twins, 4 years old, Noah and Jake, spirited, wild, confused why their brother wasn't home. Their mother, my ex-wife Rachel, had full custody. A bitter divorce. Not my idea. She had remarried a real estate broker, shiny watch, fake smile, and lived across town in a 3-bedroom with a pool. When I asked her for help, just a few nights to take the twins so I could stay by Eli's side, she leaned back in her patio chair and laughed. "You're just a broke teacher, Aaron. You figure it out." I figured it out. I borrowed from coworkers, slept in my car, took the twins with me to the hospital when I had no choice. I bribed the night nurses with leftover pizza just to keep an eye on them while I washed Eli's sheets in the family laundry room down the hall. My parents said they were too old to chase toddlers around. They had time for bingo, golf, and dinner parties, but not for their dying grandson or his little brothers. I stopped asking. I started shrinking. I had no more sick days. No more hope. Just 2 bags under my eyes and 3 sons who deserved more than I could give. Then came that night. The night I'll never forget. Eli opened his eyes around 2 a.m. He smiled weakly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dad, you don't have to be scared." "I'm not." I pressed my forehead to his hand and broke. By morning he was gone. The funeral was small. Rachel didn't come. She couldn't get away. My parents sent flowers and a generic Hallmark card. "So sorry for your loss." I sat in the front row alone, holding a folded paper Eli had written with shaky letters a week before. "You're the best, Dad. Don't be sad forever," but I was. For a while I truly was. Until that knock on the door. Until the moment everything changed. Chapter 2. The knock at the door. A week had passed since Eli's funeral. The house was too quiet now, except for the twins. Noah and Jake didn't understand death. Not really. They kept asking when their big brother would wake up. I didn't have the heart to explain it again. I was surviving on cereal, cold coffee, and 3 hours of sleep a night. The school where I taught had kindly extended my leave, but the guilt of living while Eli lay beneath dirt gnawed at me. Every breath felt like betrayal. Then came the knock. It was a Wednesday morning. Gray skies. Light rain tapping the windows. I opened the door and blinked twice. A man in a navy blue suit stood before me. Trim beard, clipboard, government ID badge clipped to his breast pocket. "Mr. Aaron Peters." "Yes. I'm with the Children's Compassion Initiative. We received a confidential nomination from your hospital's palliative care team, and we'd like to help." He handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter and a prepaid card. I skimmed the text. I read it again. My hands began to shake. $100,000, not a loan, a grant, anonymous donation, no strings. Meant to help bereaved parents rebuild. It covered therapy, housing, food, legal support. Everything I had begged my family for and been denied. But the bigger shock was yet to come. Behind the agent, a black SUV pulled up. Out stepped a tall woman in her 40s, platinum hair, leather jacket, and eyes that didn't miss a thing. She introduced herself as Claire Donovan, the executive director of the CCI. She knelt beside my boys, handed them 2 warm cookies and said gently, "Your brother was very brave. And your dad? He's one of the strongest men I've ever met. No cameras, no performance, just sincerity." Then she stood and handed me another envelope. There's something else. The donors also chose you for the Phoenix residency program. You'll be given a house for 1 year, in the mountains, isolated, peaceful. A place to grieve. And to rebuild. I tried to speak. Couldn't. We also vetted your custody agreement. Based on the abuse and neglect you've documented from your ex-wife, our legal team can help you seek full custody. We've already started the filing. My knees nearly buckled. And that's when it hit me. A soft ember lighting in my chest. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning. Chapter 3. The mountain begins to breathe. The house was nothing like I expected. It sat quietly at the edge of a pine forest, just outside Jackson Hole, Wyoming. A wraparound porch hugged the old timber frame. Smoke gently curled from the chimney. A wooden swing creaked in the soft wind. It wasn't luxury. It was peace. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was drowning. The twins ran through the front door, like they'd been set free from a cage. Jake found the bunk beds. Noah discovered a telescope pointed toward the Grand Tetons. There was a fridge full of fresh groceries, firewood stacked outside, a warm handwritten note on the counter. To the father who carried too much alone, welcome home. Claire. The silence of the mountains didn't feel empty. It felt clean. Sacred. Like Eli's spirit had followed us here. But healing was never going to be simple. Each night after I tucked in the twins, I sat on the porch with Eli's old sketchpad. He used to draw dragons and robots and superhero teams he wanted us to build together. One page had us fighting a 3-headed monster labeled cancer. I broke down reading that. By the 3rd week, something shifted. The legal team Claire promised came through. My ex-wife, who once mocked me for being a broke teacher, had just been served. She hadn't paid a dime toward the funeral. She hadn't even sent flowers. But now she was furious that I was seeking full custody of our boys. And had backing. What lawyer are you even using? She spat over the phone. The kind that doesn't bill hourly, I said flatly. They're donors. People who care for the first time. She sounded afraid. Back at the ranch, I began teaching the twins from home. Math with LEGOS, science with the stars. They laughed more now. Slept through the night. Noah said he dreamed about Eli flying over the mountains, riding a dragon with golden wings. I started writing again. Just a little. Essays about fatherhood. Grief. Perseverance. I sent one to a national education blog. They published it. Then another. Suddenly, emails poured in. Fathers. Teachers. Grievers. People saying, your story helped me get out of bed. The fire that cancer tried to kill was sparking again. Not with rage. But purpose. And I realized something. This wasn't just my revenge. This was redemption. For every parent left behind in the shadows. Chapter 4. The ones who abandoned us. It was a Thursday morning when I got the call. Claire's voice was tight. Are you sitting down? She explained that my ex-wife had filed a motion for full custody of the twins. She claimed I was mentally unfit after Eli's death. That I had isolated the boys in some dangerous survivalist compound. She even cited my essays. The raw, honest ones about grief. As proof I was unstable. I didn't panic. Because for once, I had something stronger than rage. I had evidence. Claire filed our response. In it were photographs. Of the twins. Smiling. Learning. Playing in the snow. Letters from the local pediatrician. Therapist. And even the town librarian. Vouching for their health, happiness, and safety. And then came the final blow. Eli's voice. Well, his letter, actually. One he had written in the hospital. Months before he passed. It was addressed. To Dad. For later I had sealed it away. Until now. Dear Dad. If you're reading this, then maybe I'm gone. Don't be sad. I'm okay now. I just want to say thank you for always being with me. Even when you cried in the hallway and thought I couldn't hear. I did. I love you more than anything. Please take care of Jake and Noah. They'll need you. You're the best dad in the world. Even if people don't see it now, one day, they will. Love, Eli. Claire read it in court. The judge asked for a recess. That same day, I got a voicemail from my parents. The ones who refused to help when I begged for time, just 2 hours, to sit by Eli's hospital bed. Now they were, reaching out. We didn't know it would be this serious, my father said. Your mother and I, we're sorry. We want to visit the twins. I didn't call back. A week later, they sent a card. Inside was a check. I shredded it. Because healing isn't bought with guilt money. And family isn't just blood. It's presence. When it's hardest to show up. That night, we lit a lantern. And sent it drifting into the cold mountain sky. Jake whispered, "Is that going to Eli?" I smiled. He'll see it. Final chapter. The knock at the door. 1 week after the custody battle ended, which the judge dismissed with prejudice, declaring my ex-wife's motion exploitative and cruel, we were finally starting to breathe again. I had just finished making cocoa for the twins when a knock echoed through the house. 3 sharp raps. I opened the door. Standing there, soaked from the falling snow, was a teenage girl. Maybe 17. Behind her, a battered suitcase. Her eyes looked scared but familiar. "Mr. Harris?" she asked. I nodded slowly. I'm Marissa. Eli's friend. From the hospital. You probably don't remember me. But I did. I remembered Eli laughing with her over card games when the pain was too much for words. She'd been there every day. A quiet light. I didn't know where else to go, she said, voice trembling. My foster home kicked me out. Eli. He used to say that if anything ever happened to me, I should come here. That you'd understand. The wind howled behind her, but inside, everything stilled. I stepped aside. "Come in," I said gently. "You're safe now." That night after the twins went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with Marissa. She held the cocoa like it was a treasure. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I didn't mean to bring trouble." "You didn't," I replied. "You brought something back." She looked up. "What's that?" I smiled sadly. "Family." Epilogue. It's been 2 years. Marissa stayed with us. We officially adopted her last spring. The house, once silent and grieving, now echoes with piano practice, arguments over cereal, and laughter. On Eli's birthday, we hike to the ridge and release a lantern. Each year, the message changes. This year, Jake wrote it. "Dear Eli, you sent us Marissa. Thank you. We miss you. But don't worry. Dad kept his promise. He never gave up. Love, your family." Final note: revenge doesn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes it's quiet. It's building something beautiful from the ashes people left you in. It's proving them wrong, not by screaming, but by surviving, loving, and rising. And when they knock again, years later, when they see what you've built, you'll know. You didn't just get revenge. You got redemption. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. If you are watching this video, comment below and tell us where you are watching this video from. Hit like if you crave justice and share this story with someone who needs its fire.